even in CONCACF Champions League standard, this was definitely above what I have ever seen in a CONCACAF Champions League game. I mean, while this game has the usual bad referee decision and the rough challenge that happened in this game, and also both teams seems to clash against each other multiple times, there was definitely at times where it was just simply madness that happened in this game. And I think probably if you want to ask me what's my favorite moment coming out of this game, besides the fact that I'm happy to see that LAFC were able to beat Club America and kind of in some way give Club America a taste of their own medicine of all the cheating that they done in this game, and the referee decision kind of went in favor of them, is the fact that Miguel Herrera decided that not only the fact that he refused to leave the stadium once he was being stand in the stands, but he kind of went full 007 and decided to use a walkie-talkie to basically communicate with his staff, and basically still using it to kind of talk to his staff about the tactics of how to set up the team. And that, I'm pretty sure that is completely illegal, and you can't do that if you have, of course, been sent off to the pitch. And I'm not quite sure if CONCACAF is going to investigate in terms of that. But, if Herrera does get fired by Club America and that he does come to MLS, I really hope that would be the case. And that, you talk about another coach that I can think of that is not really kind of like how crazy as Miguel Herrera does in terms of his on the field situation. But I cannot wait to see if Herrera does come to MLS and that his team would be playing against the Quakes. And that, can you imagine a Mateus Almeida versus Miguel Herrera matchup where both of these teams are known to have some shithousery and some crazy chaos that has happened? That would literally be my dream match if one day that, of course, would be the case. But either way, going back to this game and kind of where do we start in terms of talking about this crazy game, besides by talking about what happened in the first half, and that in the first 5 minutes of the game, I thought LAFC were by far the better team, and they were really dominating the possession and pinning Club America in their own half. And after that last game between Club America and Atlanta, where I thought Club America kind of went a little bit defensive, and that I kind of understand why they were going a little bit defensive with the way that they were 3-0 up on the aggregate score, but I did not expect the fact that they would just kind of sit back a little bit and have LAFC just kind of dominate possession for the majority of this game. Now, in the 8th minute, Palacio did get a yellow card after he basically chopped Suarez's legs with his hand. And after all the shithousery that happened in this game, a lot of people probably forgot about this. And this is, I think, where it kind of all started in terms of how this game just kind of plummeted into chaos mode. Because I thought this was an instant where Palacio probably got lucky. The fact that he only gets a yellow card out of that. I mean, he basically used his hand and punched Suarez in the leg. And while Suarez, I think he kind of went down a little bit too easily. Well, actually, pretty much every single Club America player went down easily as soon as there's contact. And it just feels like there was so much flopping and diving in this game that if you were the disciplinary committee that was in charge of this game, man, there's going to be a lot of fines that's going to be handed out in this for so much embellishment that happened in this one. But yeah, I thought Palacio got very fortunate that he only gets a yellow after that. But then in the 11th minute, we got ourselves the game's first goal, and for the second game in a row, LAFC got themselves down 1-0 early on. But this time it wasn't from the penalty spot, and instead from a set piece where Cáceres was able to score to give Club America a 1-0 lead. But really, that was just poor defending from LAFC, and this has been an issue for LAFC in terms of defending, and especially on the set piece and in the corner, where they just tend to struggle in terms of defending set piece throughout this season. Now, after that, the game, of course, started to get a little bit physical, as there was definitely a lot of foul and very stop and go, which is going to be something that is continued to be a trend in this one. Before Cifuentes hits one just a little bit high from close range in the 24th minute, and despite the fact that LAFC was doing a very good job in terms of winning the ball in the midfield and not allowing Club America to even go four on the attack, and that they were pretty much controlling the possession, and Club America was just getting pinned back. They were not doing enough in the final third. The final third was a real issue for LAFC, and that despite the fact that they had around 60 or 70% possession in that first half, it actually took them 37 minutes before they reached their first shot on goal because they weren't getting the clear-cut chances to potentially get the equalizer. And the first shot was really just a weak long-range effort from Carlos Vela, which was easily saved by Ochoa. But then Ochoa did have his first big test in the 39th minute when Segura basically hit this one from point-blank range and into the traffic. And somehow, in some way, this ball did not get deflected despite the fact that it was hit right into the traffic. But Ochoa was able to get some quick reflex to dive to the right way and deny Segura a chance for LAFC to get the equalizer. And then this is when the madness begins. In the 43rd minute, there was some pushing and shoving between both teams as the temperature was started to boil over, and it eventually did boil over in the 45th minute, where first there was no penalty call after it looked like Sanchez fouled Vela into the box, and then after that instant, a couple of seconds later, there was went down on the ground, and I'm not quite sure exactly what happened, so they show on the replay, and it looked like Atuesta and Ochoa was kind of having some choice words with each other, and Atuesta was definitely feeling offended by that, and he basically retaliated by trying to punch Ochoa. Now, on the replay, it didn't look like Atuesta really retaliated Ochoa and didn't really kind of punch Ochoa very much, and that it was more Ochoa being a little bit theatric in terms of the way that he went down. And then also Atuesta, he got bumped by a couple of Club America player and went down on the ground too and grabbing his face. But yeah, there was a lot of theatric that was happening during that instant, and after a couple of minutes of sorting out and trying to get both teams to cooler heads, the referee sent Atuesta off. Now, I know Atuesta, when he decided to retaliate Ochoa, it was more of Ochoa play acting that kind of maybe forced the referee to send Atuesta off, but at the same time, I feel like that was stupid from Atuesta, and that even though if he didn't make any contact to Ochoa, the minute you decided to try to retaliate, and it just feel like almost like Ochoa kind of instigated Atuesta and kind of want to force him to act something so that he can potentially get him to get into the bait, and the fact that he of course decided to play out to potentially send Atuesta off. And if that's the plan that Ochoa decided to do, it definitely worked, because Atuesta clearly got triggered and clearly got baited by that trap, and it's unsurprising the fact that Atuesta would see a red card during that instant. And then as the halftime whistle was blown, and by the way, before we get into that, going back to that penalty kick call that was not given, I thought that was a penalty. I mean, it was pretty clear that Sanchez did not get the ball and caught Vela into the stomach and brought him down with his feet, and that the only reason why maybe that wasn't a penalty call was because of something called karma that Carlos Vela suffered, where remember in that last game against Cruz Azul where, you know, he won a penalty for LAFC, but it was pretty clear that he basically died there to win that penalty. So I guess the sports guards decided to give Carlos Vela a taste of his own medicine and decided to not give in a penalty kick call that it was clearly they should have been called a penalty for LAFC. But whether if that is the case or not, I still think that was a penalty, and that of course was way before when things really kind of got out of hand in this game. And speaking of things kind of got out of hand, at the halftime whistle, both teams started to clash against each other, and that at some point, I'm not quite sure what happened, but eventually the referee sent Miguel Herrera into the stands and even show him a red card. And I even put it here in the second half where he, of course, was get sent into the stands. Now, originally, when he was getting sent into the stands, he was actually sitting near the first row of the stands and was only a couple of feet away from where his benches and pretty much he was still allowed in terms of barking instruction from the stands. And I think maybe some of the stadium official and even the referee realized that, yeah, probably we should set him even further away, or even just kick him out of the stadium, because we cannot allow him to continue to send instruction toward his players even though he is sitting in the stands. So they basically decided to later on bring Herrera away from his bench. And despite the fact that they were trying their best to pretty much kick Miguel Herrera out of the stadium, they eventually kind of forced him to just sit back right around the executive level of the stadium. And even then, as I said before, one of the funniest thing and one of my favorite thing out of the whole crazy things that or the whole madness thing that happened in this game is that even then, Herrera feels like he's not going to give up in terms of still able to be part of this game and still able to give instructions to the team, because he started to use kind of a walkie-talkie, which, again, I'm kind of surprised those stadium officials didn't even realize that you cannot just let a guy that you fail to basically tell him to be kicked out of the stadium and allow him to just now use his walkie-talkie to basically communicate with the team. I mean, that seems kind of a little bit suspect in terms of that, but at the same time, it was kind of hilarious seeing that happen, because I don't think there's any times where a coach that gets sent into the stands have to go to this next level of a way to find a way to still able to communicate with his team, even though he has officially been sent into the stands. Now, heading into the second half, and with LAFC down 1-0 and down, man, a lot of people thought that this game was pretty much over and that LAFC probably they weren't going to come back into this game. Boy, were those people wrong, because literally 15 seconds into the second half, Carlos Vela able to tie the game up at 1 apiece before just 50 seconds later, he would score the second goal to completely turn this game on its head from Eddie Segura to make it 2-1 in favor of LAFC. And it almost felt like LAFC was playing like they were angry and that there was a chip in their shoulder. And I guess whatever Bob Bradley said about how he feels like actually showing your angerness on the pitch and able to score goals on the pitch. Well, it seemed like he basically delivered that message, because in just the first 2 minutes, LAFC, they looked like they were playing with a lot of angerness. While Club America, I'm not quite sure were they were just still falling asleep coming out into the second half, because they got absolutely blitzed in the first couple of minutes, and it led to them now all of a sudden find themselves 2-1 down just 2 minutes into the second half. Now, that being said, they eventually did start to kind of control possession, and that they decided to attack the LAFC defense. And in some way, I think right about the 55-minute mark, I thought that this game kind of turn in terms of the script of how this one was, because in the first half I thought LAFC were the one that was controlling possession, while Club America was just sitting back and hoped to try to attack on the counter. Well, in the second half it seemed like it's LAFC the one that was just trying to defend and trying to hit Club America on the counter attack, while Club America was controlling possession. And that despite the fact that they were controlling possession, Club America was also having the same issue that LAFC had, which was they weren't very clinical in terms of the final third. And Ken Vermeer didn't really get tested a lot throughout the second half, although he did have some concern in the 67th minute when Suarez actually hits the side netting on the volley, and Suarez actually got a very good look at this one, and Vermeer basically was kind of got caught out of the position as the ball was coming back toward the back post. And if Suarez was able to connect that volley and hits it into the empty net, that would have been a 2-2 game at that point. But unfortunately, he could not connect it well on the volley and basically hits it into the side netting before Vermeer was finally tested in the 76th minute, when Reyes would basically put a good free kick for about 25 yards out, but Vermeer was able to push that one away. And then Reyes, just 2 minutes later, got himself sent off after he decided to put a studs-up challenge on Diego Rossi. And I thought this was also another big turning point of what seems like there was a lot of turning point that happened in this game. And I thought that really deflated the Club America after that red card happened, because despite the fact that I also wrote Club America was searching for the equalizer while LAFC were looking to just seize the game out, they weren't really attacking that LAFC defense and wasn't really putting a lot of pressure on that LAFC defense that was Club America. And LAFC looked really comfortable in defense and looked really comfortable to just kind of seize this game out. And as the game winds down for the last couple of minutes, I just kind of feel like it was more that LAFC potentially is not only going to seize this game out, but they're probably going to get a third goal to pretty much put the cherry on the top, which that is exactly what happened in the 4th minute of stoppage time, as Latif Blessing pretty much called game over in this one in the 4th minute of stoppage time to make it 3-1 in favor of LAFC. And that is the final score of this game. As the shots in this one, both teams had 14 shots apiece, 4 shots on goal compared to 6 that LAFC had, 4 shots off target compared to 2 that LAFC had. Both teams have 6 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 49% possession compared to 51% possession that LAFC had, as LAFC is moving on in the CONCACF Champions League Final, and they become the second team to make it to the final, and they get to play against Tigres in the final, which I'm pretty sure that is going to be just as a tough task to try to take down Club America in this game. And by the way, LAFC also made some history in this game too, as they become the first MLS team to knock off free Liga MX's opponent in the CONCACF Champions League. And you know, it just with the way that LAFC has been playing in this tournament, something tells me that maybe this could be finally the year that an MLS team can get over the hill and finally win the CONCACAF Champions League. And I know this game, you know, obviously with how physical this game went, this game or how physical this game went, there is a little bit of a concern with the way that, since they're only going to get 3-day rest before that Tigres game. And I'm pretty sure if you're Tigres and you're watching this game, you must be loving the way that both teams are just kind of fighting each other out and just tiring each other out, while you get a chance to play maybe against a team that is just physically exhausted after this game. But at the same time, knowing the fact that LAFC and the fact that they have done so well in this CONCACAF Champions League, and that's something tells me that this could be finally the year that an MLS team can finally do it, especially LAFC has the weapons going forward to able to find a way to win games. And also, I also have been pretty impressed with the LAFC defense, which, you know, even though at times during these last 2 games they have shown their vulnerability, they have been pretty exceptional in a way that it looks much better than what we saw in the regular season. I mean, besides that one goal that they conceded from the corner, I thought that the defense for LAFC was very solid, and they need to be solid again in that game against Tigres. And yeah, I'm definitely excited about that game, and I'm also excited the fact that this is also not the last time I am going to be doing a review before the beginning of the next season in MLS. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this review. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this crazy game that we saw in the CONCACAF Champions League. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.